First of all, I would like to thank the organizers, and in particular Manuel Ramos Francia, for inviting me to the inauguration of the Latin American Journal of Central Banking. I first would like to speak a little bit about the relevance of economic research for monetary policy decision making. As you all know, monetary policy has to be based on evidence-based and not only on first principles in order to make sound decisions. In that sense, we need sound and very active research departments in the central banks, along with which the research derived from those research departments should be combined with that published by academics and by other policy institutions in order to have a better understanding of the economy, on the measurement of the main variables we follow, and in particular on the consequences on the economy of monetary policy decisions. In that sense, the research departments that the central banks have to address a very, very broad set of issues, going from inflation expectations, the measurement of those and the measurement of the output gap, productivity growth, labor markets, and so on. So in that sense, we need large and very comprehensive research departments in order to be able to understand fully the economy, the main characteristics and features of the economy that we are conducting monetary policy for, and in particular to try to evaluate the possible consequences of our monetary policy decisions. It is also very important for research departments at central banks to provide to policymakers the most precise possible estimates of diverse elasticities that characterize the economy, such as the exchange rate pass-through, the response of lending and of consumption, investment, and aggregate spending to interest rate movements, and so on and so forth. So in that context, very sound analysis has to be made, especially in the econometric arena, in order to be able to provide with that input to policymakers. In that sense, research departments have to maintain and to study the most modern econometric practices, the most modern economic analysis and economic procedures to estimate those elasticities in order to be able to give the most relevant information for policymakers to use and to make their most adequate policy decisions. Furthermore, the economy has been subject to a very, very large sequence of shocks in the last few years. In that sense, the research department has needed to adapt to the circumstances in order to be able to provide sound economic analysis and good economic policy recommendations. This sequence of shocks started in 2014 with the decrease in the prices of oil. Then during 2016 and 2017, given the uncertainty concerning the trade relationship of Mexico with the United States, then with some domestic policy decisions, and finally now we are subject to the consequences of the coronavirus outbreak across the world and in Mexico in particular. In all those circumstances, the Banco de Mexico's research department has needed to adapt significantly in order to be able to give analysis, evidence-based research and analysis in order to have a better understanding of the economy, a better understanding of the consequences of these shocks, and therefore to provide better guidance to the Board of Governors of the bank. In order for the central bank's research departments to give sound advice to their Board of Governors and to give credible and reliable research and recommendations to the policymakers, they have to rely a lot on the published refereed economic analysis made by academics. In that context, in Banco de Mexico, we follow very closely most economic journals in order to be able to understand and to apply the most state-of-the-art, the most modern techniques on economic analysis, econometric analysis, and in general economic research methodologies. In that context, it is only by relying on those results published in academic refereed journals that we can give the degree of certainty and confidence on our own recommendations to policymakers. Finally, let me address the inauguration of the Latin American Journal of Central Banking. Central banks throughout the world have become important think tanks, so there is a lot of interaction and feedback between different institutions. CEMLA conferences have been very beneficial in terms of fostering these exchanges across Latin American countries' central banks. We should remember that low and middle income countries face very different policy dilemmas and policy challenges than advanced economies. So in that sense, having a research agenda that is common to countries with similar characteristics and features is very beneficial to get a better understanding of the challenges we face and the policy responses we may take. In particular, Latin American countries may in general face similar dilemmas, although maybe most of them have specific features that make them a little bit different from the rest. However, having a common journal that takes the research agenda of the central banks from most of these countries and putting them together in a journal that will allow us as research departments to see and to analyze and study the research undertaken in other regions or in other countries within the region may be very helpful in order to foster a better understanding of the shocks we face, the policy responses we take, and the dilemmas that we face. In this context, the launching of the Latin American Journal of Central Banking is a great effort to promote rigorous research that can be improved and discussed among countries to broaden our understanding of our economies. I celebrate that this initiative invites the broad academic community to get involved in the policy debate of Latin American countries. We should take advantage of this initiative to continue our conversation with academia and to continue bridging the knowledge that each of us obtains from our position. This journal should remind us that these two arenas are intrinsically intertwined and that both sides gain from maintaining an open and frank conversation. In particular, this journal can strengthen the links between academic research and the research undertaken within central banks. Importantly, given the current state of public debate, the Latin American Journal of Central Banking will surely and definitely contribute by promoting scientific, evidence-based research that will ensure that policy making within the region will be based on better principles, better understanding of the economy, and better state-of-the-art techniques.